Welcome back to the Vintage Super League. I am joined with Bob Marr, the Great One, who is playing Belcher this week. So, if you don't mind, I haven't heard. Can you tell me a little bit about your choice to play Belcher?
Um, I just wanted something spicy. I actually reached out to Randy and said, "Well, I'm out of contention now, so what'll make for an entertaining show?" Um, because I kind of want to keep things balanced. He can give me a little bit of input if he has any idea what other people are playing. Whether we need one of the more staple decks to keep it relative to vintage, or whether you can play something totally off the wall. Um, and he, of course, asked me, like, are you trying to metagame against some of the other people that you're going to be playing against this week? I'm like, not at all. I just,
You're like, no,
I
I want
just
to
want
have
to
a
have
good
fun.
time.
And actually, when he brought this up, he even said it might be useful to have a more mainstream vintage deck if people are watching, hoping to pick up a couple of pieces of tech here and there, try and tune their decks. But all in all, we aired on the side of fun as opposed to competitive.
Right, which is what VSL I think essentially is all about, right? I think we all like to try, unique things, and you were in the situation where you were able to just really try, just
Yeah, I mean, it led
fully,
to
yeah.
Randy and I having a long debate as to whether Experimental Frenzy should be in the deck. He's like, no, you're just going to keep hitting your permission, and then you're just going to stop. And I'm like, there's only one land in the deck. Like maybe I put one top in the deck. Who knows? And so we were just kind of spinning back and forth. Like, I'm not super happy with diminishing returns when you can randomly just lose some of your win conditions. I mean, you have 4 Belchers, but I mean, against you, I had diminishing returns where my only win was getting Vault Key and building Tezzeret up big enough to turn my artifacts into creatures to attack with. So then when you diminishing returns and if you lose your Vault, the game's just over. I don't know, it's not the best feeling. Well, until you
No.
turn over the 10 cards and it's not in there. You're like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, they're like now it is right, absolutely. And what I've noticed about watching and then playing you is you were always like really close, like a turn away or a mana away or something like that for it
Well,
to.
even in my first match, I pondered and I had whatever the spell was that he was going to need to counter on top. I think it was a Tezzeret or something. But then I had Vault Key after it on the ponder, and I even knew in my head which order I wanted the Vault Key, but of course I clicked them in the wrong order, and there's no bringing it back out into the window. So I just put them in the wrong order. I'm like, well, I hope this doesn't come back to hurt,
Okay,
and
well
it did.
that's
it all
definitely something that we can blame on Moto, which is great because Moto
it
is what we get to blame everything on.
Yeah, anytime you're in a situation like that where it's like, I hope this doesn't come back to haunt me, it always comes back to haunt you.
100%, 100%. I think this week in general is awesome. What did you think about the decks that everyone else chose to come with?
So I think it's a ton of fun. Like I enjoy seeing wacky decks play, um, but I'm one of those people like I like seeing how they play against mainstream decks where we're not getting a ton of that.
Right.
Uh, it's certainly entertaining to see which really odd take on vintage is going to come out ahead, but um, I don't know. I guess in the whole hierarchy of players, I was always too much of a spike to watch too much Magic where one of the decks wasn't a competitive tournament deck.
Right. No, I totally get that. And I will say that when I put metallic mimics, like I registered metallic mimics in my deck, I did not think I was going to be like the most stock list that there is, and
Yeah,
somehow I ended up being
yeah.
that. But the players are ready, so we get to see the Brian mirror match. All right, so here we go. Let's see, I'm gonna open. So it looks like Brian Kelly won the die roll, and he's mulliganed.
Yeah,
And that hand's interesting, right? Because it's bad, but it has the main deck rest in peace against the lands deck.
yeah. It's the greatest thing ever, and his opponent has opening fast bond, which for him is the greatest thing ever.
Oh yeah, but I have bad news, Brian. Other Brian C.
I don't know. I mean, he has Thespian Stage Dark Depths in his opener.
That's true. That's true. That's the way around rest in peace. You don't
Right?
need value if you just have it.
He's gonna drop the whole combo just right here.
Oh no. If
Oh
you're
no! What
Brian,
do you
you
mean? Oh
well,
yes!
I can't, that's true, but I just
Yeah.
feel I can't help but feel so bad for Brian Kelly, who had to think like, this is amazing. This is I can't believe I drew my like. I think he only has like one or no, he has two. I think main deck. Rest in peace.
Oh come on! Root for the good guys. Him over there with the rest in peace. He's the fun police. I mean, come on
Okay,
now.
okay. I don't know though. Like, so if we're rooting for the coolest deck, lands is certainly cool, but Brian Kelly has Dragon Lord Dromoka and Telepathy in his deck, so I'm really unsure who's the good and bad
I mean,
guys.
I have a soft spot in my heart for telepathy. Like the person I got the oath deck that I won my first, I won the pro tour with. Uh, it originally had telepathy in it. And I played a lot of games with telepathy, but no, I think I always have to root against rest in peace.
And I know. Okay, so when I was watching Brian Kelly's first match, it became a little bit of a meme. I like said it I think 7 times. But what was interesting about the fast spawn is he can run it out because he knows he doesn't have mental misstep. I mean, he has forcibles and things like that, but that's just like something that's so nice to if you have a one drop, you can run it out a lot more safely, knowing that Brian's deck doesn't play mental misstep.
Yeah, but I mean, again, talking about the fun police that we repeal for the 2020 token.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, and I think I was saying earlier was that this is like a legacy matchup. Like
Yeah,
a souped up legacy matchup that you'd see. And obviously he's going for it because what else can you do?
yeah, I would certainly go for it. Also, just
Feels bad.
yeah, I mean, he has a potential win on the table. I was keeping opening hands that my scribe one had to be very specific for my hand to be playable. I mean,
Really?
oh yeah, that the the Belcher deck is still a few cards away from being reasonable.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So this has turned out to be an interesting game where it seemed lopsided when you didn't look at Brian or Brian's hand. Um, and it's going to be interesting. Although I know Brian had the issue before where he had just like a mana bomb. Ooh, crop
All
rotation.
right,
Crop rotation.
I mean, if he
And
gets
it,
that if he gets that maze out of there, he's still a mana short, right?
yeah, because
There we
obviously he
go.
is. Ah, although getting a crop rotation mental misstep feels bad. But he doesn't have to worry about that as much. And he has to assume Brian Kelly is pretty light at this moment.
Yeah, I don't know. As soon as the window was open there, I think you keep firing away. There's already a rest in peace in play.
Right.
Am I missing something? Why you couldn't use the Tega to? Oh, I guess you don't have to do it. Well, I mean, you save the mana doing it end of turn. I'm just trying to figure out if he ditches the Maze of Ith and puts Dark Depths in play, untaps. I thought he could have copied it that turn. As strange as it is to say, I've played a fair amount of Thespian Stage Dark Depths in Vintage.
Well, that it was a deck that people were playing for a while. I think like I want to say two or three seasons ago in VSL, right?
Yeah, I wasn't playing lands. I was playing it in shops with
Oh,
the artifact that copied Time Vault and whatnot.
oh,
Also,
sick, sick.
yeah, I mean, the things that happen once you're out of contention, and I spend a lot of time out of contention.
Okay, crop rotation. That's a good card. I'm a fan of the Riftstone portals too. Not that they matter in this game particularly.
Yeah, they're not great in this game, but they certainly make the deck function.
Yes.
Wow, Abeyance. Oh my goodness. His entire deck just keeps his opponent doing what they want to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At least it's not with conventional cards, I guess.
Yeah. There's that main deck null rod.
Man, these people with all this hate. It's not
I
a good.
don't know.
Well, I was gonna say it was not a good week for Belcher, but I'm not sure there is a good week for Belcher. So
It's true. I felt a little bit weird registering null rod in my Arcbound Ravager deck, in my Ballista deck. But it's honestly like, I don't know. I probably told myself this and it's absolutely incorrect, but I said it's not that bad against me. Like I have the mimics now, so it's not horrible. And it turned out to really pay off.
yeah. Oh, I absolutely think you should have it in your sideboard.
But it feels kind of bad, right?
Yeah, there's some people it's just so much worse for than it is for you.
Right, of course, of course. Of course, against like outcome and things like that. It's like
Yeah.
you would 100% take that, like 10 out of 10 times. Brian's deck was also the what he chose to put in his main deck was pretty spicy as well, like with the Ancient Grudges, the Cinder Vines main deck. He's playing, if I'm not Brian Coval, I should say, sorry. He's also playing Stony's main deck.
Yeah.
Am I correct in this? Like with no Savannah, which I thought was kind of crazy. I know he has Riftstone Portal, but still no Savannah. Um, Stonies.
I'm looking up his
Yeah, I will as well.
solo Savannah. Yep.
Oh, he does have a Savannah.
Yeah.
Okay, then it's not loosey goosey. It's totally great then.
Well,
I thought
we've
I looked
decided
over.
that one's a wrap.
Mm-hmm. All right, so looking at board, he's pulling over the Nature's Claim, the Cinder Vines. In general, and I know this is obviously a matchup you probably have never seen. I'm going to assume, especially with the one ofs. What do you think is favored here, Enchantress or lands? Do you
Ooh,
have a thought?
that's
Hey, here's
and
this matchup that you've never seen before. What do you think?
usually I would have said lands, but I mean, just seeing how quickly that rest in peace just ended things, that makes it a hard pick.
Right,
I mean,
right.
I'm still fixated on that Lavinia in his sideboard. Of course,
Hmm.
when he played it against me, because I was on the play, I took my Chain of Vapor out of my deck, and yeah, it hit the board and I was just locked up.
Hmm.
I guess it doesn't work at all against lands. No, it has to be Enchantress.
I think so as well.
Their cards
That
just do
that I
things
do.
that are totally devastating.
Yeah, and I
Um,
mean, so the thing about lands, right, is that it can be fast, but like in the situation where he has fast spawn and he just has the combo, like games like that, those can go really fast. But that's not really like the main purpose of the deck. The main purpose of the deck is like an engine deck. In which case,
yeah,
I think Enchantress, if you don't cheese out a win like really fast, Enchantress is favored, and I think that happens more times than not.
right. I think Enchantress has plenty of early game wins, and the
Yeah,
longer every game goes, the more it favors Enchantress.
right, right. Yeah, you need to be pretty fast. I feel like to be Enchantress, and like I said, while lands can have fast draws in general, it's more about just like grinding tons of value and like drawing three off loam and things like that.
Yeah, I can't tell if Brian Kelly has taken all of the standstills out of his deck or not.
Um, I don't know. The cards are so small.
Like,
I
I
don't
don't know
think
how this
so.
matchup plays out at all, but
Yeah.
I usually pretty hesitant to drop a standstill against a deck with that many lanes.
Yeah. Okay, so Brian's hand, he has Exploration Manabon, so Manabon can just, if he wants to. A little bit awkward with Thriftstone portals, but
Oh, I got the screen names mixed up. For some odd reason, I was thinking Brian Kelly had won that first game. So he did have the Thespian Sage Dark Depths on the table, and he just conceded.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry. When I saw the screen name pop up, I did not tie that to Brian Coval.
Yeah. So the Brian Bear match has been great, but making sure, like having two Brians does make it a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, a thespian stage. Man, that is a beautiful thing
Wow.
to see. I am so happy that happened.
Oh,
Hmm. Well, Brian Kelly, your turn.
jealous.
I know. PB and Jelly. That is so cool to see that.
I mean, I'm playing a deck that's supposed to kill fast, but that's just and the repeal.
But he has the
It's
reveal.
always the repeal.
Always the reveal. Look, would you another Riftstone Portal, so we'll be able to put that back.
Great. Now
Now
things tap for mana. He hit
for mana as well.
he hit the I don't even remember the Life from Loam.
Yes. Which is great. We're gonna start dredging next turn for Brian C.
I
And
think
if we
he
look at what's going on in Brian Kelly's hand, interesting. Worship is actually a really difficult card for lands if we get to that point.
right, but I mean it's not necessarily inevitability because I mean between Tabernacle and Strip Mine
Correct.
With Life from a Loam. I mean I really like Worship in places where you can't beat it, but that one just buys a lot of time.
Right, right. Which may be enough, but you're right. It's
Yeah,
not. It's
sure.
not like a total lock, but you can start getting back strips and wastes and take them out of
No,
the
I
game that way.
I have to look at his list and his sideboard. If that Chalice comes down for 2, oh, he does have 2 Nature's Claim. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I knew he had Cinder Vines, and I didn't know if he had Ancient Grudge.
He runs Ancient Grudge, I believe 2 Ancient Grudge. I'm looking at the deck right now just to yes, 2 main board, and I so
Oh, okay, but at least he has a couple of Nature's Claims if that Chalice comes down on 2.
yeah.
Because that Chalice turning off Life from the Loam is also a really big deal.
Yes. Yes. So he's looking okay, so what's he put back? He put back Worship and Dramoka with the Brainstorm. Some very expensive cards back on top.
Arcane Denial. I'm impressed.
He brought some spicy stuff in his deck list, which I mean, we expect this for Ryan Kelly, and he never disappoints. All right, so it looks like we're dredging Life from the Loam.
So now he's hit Strip Mine as opposed to just the Wasteland. I mean, Wasteland does a lot of work.
Yeah.
Against Brian. Worse.
He's frantically searching.
Well, search it and just doesn't want all those lands to drop into play and blow up all of his mana.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mana bond Life from Loam is kind of crazy.
It's a good combo, and without Mental Mystic, you know. All right, here comes the triggers. Some cards will be drawn.
Wow, drawing cards off Arcane Denial. The chosen number is 2. How convenient.
Oh, and by the way, about drawing, I actually can dredge. Oh, about that. It's like, thanks for enabling that.
Wow, but when this chalice comes down for 2, his hand will look terrible.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
And he went past one of his nature's claims, it looks like.
That is the drawback with Loam. That happened to me many times in Legacy, where it's like you bring in these sideboard cards and then Loam gets worse because you have to draw for some of them, and it puts you in an odd situation, or you don't, and in cases like you flip them. All right, so what is Brian Kelly thinking about here?
He's probably just reading the deck list, trying to figure out how debilitating a chalice on 1, a chalice on 2,
Wait,
what all the options are.
Standstill. So he chooses to opt for standstill.
Yeah, not that he had much trouble dispatching me, but I'm not even sure my deck can beat an energy field. Like, as long as he doesn't put one of his own cards in the graveyard. It's
right. Ooh, I was hoping for, actually, and I said this when you were playing, is I was really hoping for a nimble obstructionist to stifle. That was my like bingo card of I hope this happens tonight.
Oh, I mean, that would have been, I mean, I would have loved that too.
So sick.
That's instantly just one of those, yeah, clip it. Like,
just, this isn't vintage? Like, hold on.
yeah.
All right. So we pop the standstill.
Yeah, this is a lot of cards at end of turn. I think it was really dangerous not to chalice for 2, but I think we're going to find out exactly how dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
How about all these?
Chalice, you die by the chalice. Oh my gosh.
You didn't need those lands.
Those? Nah.
Yeah. Well then.
Man. You're Brian Coval. You have to be feeling pretty happy.
Yeah, I mean, your Dark Depths even taps for mana. It doesn't happen very often.
No.
Looking at that Oblivion Ring, like, I feel like this should get me out of this. I mean, at least he can. I mean, he could put the Sackland in play and hopefully counter the trigger.
Oh, so is Nimble Obstruction? You're telling me Nimble Obstructionist is going to do work?
I don't know the wording on Nimble Obstructionist at all.
Let's.
But if the mental shortcuts in my head of the other things that I'm comparing it to, if it works that way.
Well, yeah, we need to read the card. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know if this is just going to keep him from copying it for a turn or keep it from the 2020 from actually coming into play.
All right, so he's going for it.
Okay, all right, so Brian, it looks like it just buys you a turn.
Yeah, yes. So this is the Spider-Man meme where the Brian is pointing at the Brian. It looks as though it's going to go on the stack. Okay. Okay, this is a tense moment. It's happening. He's cycling it. Something has gone wrong here. Something has gone horribly wrong.
This did not go how I had it in my head.
Huh.
Hmm.
So this is another one, right? A Moto. Monastery Mentor is a good card, but I don't think it's going to get him out of this. Can kill an Emrakul, but not a Mariliege. All right.
Okay then.
Lands is victorious.
Yeah. Lands is very good with Mana Bond.
Surprise. Absolutely.
Well,
So we said Enchantress was probably favored, and we were proven maybe not wrong that it was favored, but certainly did not come out
oh,
that way.
I think we were wrong by a lot. Like, yes, if the longer the game went, maybe the Enchantress deck starts to pull ahead, but we were wrong by a lot. Life from the Loam does a lot of work that I couldn't really picture until I saw it in effect.
It is a powerful Magic card. It is essentially draw 3 cards. Like that's the only way I can explain it after casting a Life from the Loam. That's exactly what it feels like.
Right, but then with the Mana Bond, I mean, it's just
With the Mana Bond, it's even
yeah,
better. Correct.
yeah.
Even better. Even better.
That one turn, he's like, I'm going to pick these 6 lands, like just 3 strip mines and a 20/20. Just
Seems
this
good.
turn. We'll see what happens next turn.
Yeah, exactly. I can just do it again, by the
Yeah.
way.
Get used to it because this is what's going to be happening all the time.
And as it seems to be in Vintage, when they have Bazaar, things are a lot more smooth as well. I've noticed a big difference in when he has Bazaar versus when he does not have Bazaar.
Yeah, it's vintage is crazy. That's why I love it. It just never gets old.
All right, so stay tuned for another incredible match afterwards after we come back from this ad